got a little bit of Palo Santo oil, and then my absolute favorite is Blue Lotus. This I just got like a few drops in here, and I don't ever actually use it. I just take the lid off and just inhale it because it's so transformative. Are these two oils in your list of sacreds?
They certainly are. Wow. Yeah. Okay. Palo Santo is an oil I cannot be without. I'm very sensitive. So if you take me to a big city or a busy place, I'm very I absorb energy, even though I try not to. And Palo Santo will protect me. It gives me a kind of shield of light around me. It is, of course, it does, of course, mean holy wood. That is the direct translation of it. And it is, for me, it's like a spiritual protective. It just keeps everything inside me safe and protected from everything outside. So Palo Santo is an oil that if I'm especially doing very deep healing work, if I'm working with someone physically who has an illness or a disease that is a very deep rooted one, I will always use Palo Santo. And similarly, if I go into a building where there may be a lot of energies flying around, and I do a lot of work in hospices, and they are quite full of all sorts of energies all over the place, Palo Santo will always be with me somewhere. I keep it in my bag, but I love the way it smells, so characteristic as well, because when I've got that and I'll do an aura sweep with it before I go in to the hospice, I can smell it and it reminds me that I am being absolutely protected. So yes, that is a superb oil. And Blue Lotus, whoa. Well, I give me 3 days, Lisa, to talk about this. It is just such a beautiful and high frequency oil, as you will know, very, very, very expensive as well. But Blue Lotus is very interesting because it's very linked traditionally to resurrection and also ascension. And so at this time when people's energetic fields are speeding up so much, I think Blue Lotus comes in to help us go with that build up of speed, the increase of light, but it helps us to transmute it safely and carefully, and so that we don't just take off. I think it has incredible benefits for those who are really involved and engaged in high powered spiritual work. So the Egyptians knew so much about the power of these sacred oils. And of course, Blue Lotus was one of their absolute favorites. So yeah, if you've got that somewhere in your house, you're very lucky. I think I don't have any at the moment, so I'm feeling quite envious. I have some on order, but it's going to take a while to reach me, so I'm having to do without for a while.
Well, I'm sending you the essence through this.
Thank you. I can feel it. Wonderful.
Well, I wonder then, because some of these oils, the scent, it's not necessarily pleasant. They're not unpleasant, but they're not like Blue Lotus is ecstatic. You take one whiff and your eyes roll back in your head. But other ones, they're kind of pungent and maybe not so pretty. Does that quality make any difference, or is that just the way the plant is?
It's just the way the plant is. So when I'm teaching my students, I say to them, don't get charmed by the smell of an oil or its lack of nice smell, because it's a kind of a red herring. You see, for instance, spikenard, which I talked about earlier, it is an incredible oil, but the smell to me is quite toxic. I don't like that smell very much, and it gives me a head rush very, very quickly from the energy as well. But other people love the smell of it. Galbanum, I love the smell of, but generally the smell doesn't really tell you. But there are two oils where I would say the smell does equal the frequency and the healing potential. One is rose. Now, rose is just so beautiful, as we all know. You know, you open the bottle of rose and it's like being loved. You just get that warm embrace. You feel calm, safe, loved. So rose, yes. And the other one is violet. And I work a lot with wild crafted violet oil. And the smell is delicate and sweet, and it goes way, way, way into the aura. It really, you can just feel it wafting through. And violet oil, again, for my work, is incredibly important because it's for people who are suffering raw grief. So, you know, agonizingly painful grief. And there are so many people in the world holding that grief frequency. And violet is just amazing. It comes in and it just does its work so delicately, but it helps people to release that heavy grief that's holding their hearts so tightly. So again, I'm lucky where I live. These little tiny violets come up in the springtime. And I even have some white violets that come up, and they are very, very intense and very special. And I make violet oil just for a few weeks of the year, just enough always to keep me going until the following year. But again, it's a wonderful oil to work with. It really is. And it has its connection with Beyond the Veil as well. You know, it is working with that human pain of love lost. And I feel it does connect us again with those that we have lost. So a beautiful oil to work with. Really is.
Wow, I'm just so deeply enjoying this conversation. I could pick your brain for days, but I know you're short of time, so I want to respect that. I want to mention your website is soulmidwives.co.uk. What can people find if they visit you there?
Oh, all sorts of things. I teach soul midwifery, so that's holistic spiritual care of the dying. But I also teach sacred oils, and the two kind of weave in together. So if you go on my website, you can see lots and lots of things that I'm doing, things I'm teaching, things I'm writing about. So visit me and then email me, because I love hearing from everybody. And that would be lovely. I'm always excited to be in touch with people who are interested in sacred oils. That's for sure.
Well, you certainly know a lot about it, and I so appreciate. I've had these oils for a while now, and I use them to a small degree, but I guess I didn't really have the depth of knowledge that I needed. Thank you so much. Personally, I appreciate what you shared, and I'm sure that our viewers have gotten a lot out of this. I've taken a ton of notes, by the way. I'm going to be ordering some of these. Is there anything we've left out that you want to make sure that we talk about, or do you think we've covered a pretty good amount of ground?
I think we've covered quite a bit. I write about these oils quite a lot, and I have a book, The Sacred Oils, for healing spirit and soul. And I'll just mention how that works is that the oils are really, that is the main thing they do. They realign and rebalance spirit and soul. So there is so much that we can all be doing ourselves to do that. You don't have to be a Myra to be doing a lot of this work. So that might be of interest. I don't know. But as I say, visit my website, have a look, and it would be a joy to hear from anybody.
Thanks for listening. Check out Castle Gate, a novel based on my own ancestral healing journey, at lisabonis.com. In 1921, 4 men set off from Scotland to the United States. Will Garrock, his brother Pete, his son Willie, and his nephew Thomas, all coal miners. They left behind the miners' rows and the nationwide mining strike with its soup kitchens. Their destination was Castlegate, Utah, where they had kin to welcome them before sending for their wives and children. They prospered in America, working in one of the finest mines in Utah. Until that tragic day, March 8th, 1924. Disaster struck. 3 explosions, trapping 171 men inside. Rescue crews worked tirelessly for days, but sadly, they could not save a soul. Women were widowed and children were orphaned, and some never recovered from their broken hearts. Castlegate is the true and tragic saga of a Scottish family whose dreams of finding their fortunes in the bountiful coal mines of Castlegate, Utah during the Prohibition era explode in one of the most devastating mine disasters in American history. Learn more at lisabonnes.com.